Good morning. This is Rick Gleason and Don King coming with you from the heartbeat of worker health and safety. And we appreciate those that will be ultimately listening in on our worker safety and health continuing education topics that we've been doing for the last few months. So we have a special guest today. His name is Tony Howard, and he's the safety director at Hoffman Construction. And but Don, I'd like maybe for you to start, and then maybe you could ask Tony some questions about their program. And
Yeah, good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
So basically, Tony, what we struggle with in the industry is trying to get people on board with the near misses so that more and more people understand that the near miss is where the gold is. And so we fortunately have heard about the program at Hoffman. I have also been a part of that program and watched it myself personally, so I know how good it works and what's happening. But if you could just kind of explain to us how you get people involved in near misses and incidents and accidents and how they differentiate, that would be great.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, it's certainly a pleasure to be here. Privilege. Thanks for the invitation, and I'll do my best for you guys. Hey, so our program is called Hoffman's Level 321 Incident Reporting Procedure. And I had sent that to you guys, and you guys are more than welcome to post that program, forward it on to others, etc. And by all means, they can contact me, or you can have them contact me should they want an actual live presentation right there at the facility regarding this, because again, this podcast, there's no visuals that go along with it and that kind of thing. But anyway, so in a nutshell, the Level 321 program is really about making sure that we do not let near miss incidents slip away, because there's a lot of lessons learned with near misses, and we look at them as red flags that there's something wrong out there that needs attention and needs correction, because really, it just a slight change in distance or time, it may have been a fatality versus a near miss. So one of our main goals in putting this program together was to make sure that things didn't get swept underneath the carpet. And I'm sure many of you that are listening here have experienced just that. About as fast as the incident happens, someone wants to get it off to the wayside and forget about it and keep moving forward. So that was one of our main goals of actually putting this program together. The second main goal of putting this presentation together, or this program together, was that we realized that we need to quit pointing our fingers at the employees and blaming everything on them, and we really needed to take a look at the three fingers pointing back at us and say, we don't control everything in this world, but with what we do control, what can we change that can make a positive difference within our organization that will get us that much closer to incident and injury free?
boy, Tony, that is so true. And it seems like whenever I would review like a supervisor's report of an accident, for the last 30 plus years, I'd always be reading the same thing on what could have been done to have avoided this accident. And in almost every case, the supervisor wrote, employee should have been more careful. And but there was no more, investigation. There was nothing else on underlying causes.
So what we learned is any time that you point your finger and point fault at the employee, what you're actually doing is you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up in this horrible and dangerous trap that says, guess what? We don't need to take any further action, because should have that employee done this or could have did that kind of thing, we wouldn't be talking here right now. So it really gives you an easy out to take no action with that kind of logic. And that's what we wanted to get away from.
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
Yeah, that's great. So what you're saying, Tony, is management is getting involved and taking their part of the accountability for what's going on.
Absolutely. So what we want to do is through these lessons learned, make sure that we take what we call lagging indicators through the incident investigations and move them forward up in our accident prevention program. So change our programs, change our policies and processes and that kind of thing, and instill new ways to construct and put them upstream so that when we're back, in the future, we're planning our work, we recognize these potential hazards that came out of this particular incident or near miss and prevent recurrence. That's what it's about.
Got it. Hey, how do you get workers to actually do that if there's no injury?
Well, it is mandatory. This is a mandatory requirement that we pose on all of our projects. We've done training with everyone, and like most programs, people are resistant to change. So we've experienced some that really didn't want to comply with the requirements of this program. And all I can say is that, when that happens, someone intentionally does not report. I wait to make sure that, they just truly aren't going to report. I give them, enough time. And when it's really found that they're trying to hide something, I report it to the president. I could just say that's probably a conversation you wouldn't want to have yourself in here at Hoffman Construction.
Got it. I mean, so that's very valued from the top down, that this is a part of your safety accident prevention program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds to me, Tony, like what you actually are doing is putting a positive spin on a near miss so that everybody gets involved and it's a good thing and there's no offshoot damage that comes out of these.
Yeah, so, what we're after is, again, taking these lessons learned, and we create what's called a weekly safety suggestion here at Hoffman, and we disseminate these synopsis or a summary report of these incidents out to all the job sites on a weekly basis. So what you would see is, this Hoffman Weekly Safety Suggestion. It's going to have a title name. It's going to say what happened in brief, what were the major contributing factors, and the actions were taken to prevent recurrence, and a photo or two for you to relate to. And so we try to get that information out to all the job sites and share that information so that when they see similarities out there on their construction site at the time that they're in that phase of construction, hopefully they recognize the red flag and take action before something goes haywire.
Gosh,
That's
that is excellent. And 20, 30 years ago, if something happened on your site, it was just the opposite. You didn't want to say anything to anyone because they might think that you weren't doing your job or doing it right, and so you were reluctant to share because it would show you were somehow not perfect. And so you're kind of turning it around, that this is, like Don said, a positive type spin.
Absolutely, that's what we want. And also to help all of our supervision out in the field, what we'll do is the level 3s. Let's go through the classifications real quick. So, this is called the level 3-2-1 program. And so the level 3 is the most serious of the classifications. And that's why we have it first in the title, because it's the most serious. And then I give you the program. But basically, the level 1s, all incidents are serious. But the level 1s are the least of the serious. And they're really more of like a recordable type injury, or should have there been injury, it would have most probably ended up in a recordable type status. And then the level 2 is like lost time or probable to end up that way. And then the level 3 is very serious incidents that's occurred on the job site. When people ask me to define level 3, the best way that I can describe it to you is that let's just say, Don, you and I were out on the job site, and we were just doing an inspection and taking a look around there, and all of a sudden, we together witnessed a very serious incident. There was no property damage, no one was hurt, but, you look at me and you say, wow, Tony, we're darn lucky we just didn't kill somebody. And when that happens, you've had a level 3 incident. And so in this program, all those classification descriptions are just guidelines. We look at each one of these incidents on a case-by-case and classify them. And I've been tasked with that by the president of Hoffman to make those classifications. And I'd say, if you get tasked with that same role, the best advice I could give you is you put your blinders on, stick to the facts, and keep the personalities and the people out of it that would love to influence your decision making, because when you're the judge and jury, everybody wants to be your friend.
Absolutely. Oh, that's that's really good advice, Tony, and it really is important that the drama stays out of those kind of things, and personalities, and who they were and what position they were in.
Absolutely. Stick to the facts.
Yeah.
So, Tony, if something were a level 3, even though maybe no injury occurred, but certainly could have, if the circumstances had just been slightly different, what would happen with that? Can you take us through the process?
Well, let me tell you that we have investigated. We started this program in January of 2009, and let me get to the slide here. I believe from since the inception of this program till now, we have investigated around 450 level 2s and level 3 incidents, and 97% of those investigations, there was no personal injury or property damage incurred from that incident.
Okay.
All right.
And tell us about this investigation. Who looks at it? What happens? Who gets it?
Yeah, great.
Sure.
So, again, let's just head to the level 3, because that's the most serious of them.
Okay.
So when we have a level 3 incident, the first thing that happens is, once it's classified as a level 3, the project superintendent is required to contact the president of the company. So most of the time, they'll call me, we'll discuss it, and then I'll say, hey, this is a level 3, you need to give Mr. Drinkword a call. So that's the first thing that happens. And then we have incident investigation there on the job site, and everybody involved with the incident are in the incident review, because we want to find out the facts. So this could include subcontractors, sub-tier subcontractors. It could include owners, personnel, and a number of personnel. And so they're involved in the incident investigation at the job site. But when we have a level 3 meeting, it is held at the main office. It is held by the committee is made up of all the executives at Hoffman and our risk management staff, and the subcontractors are intentionally not invited to that meeting. Number one, Hoffman's philosophy is that the project superintendent, the project manager, are ultimately responsible for everything that happens on that job site, and they're going to be the ones that come into this meeting and report out on it.
Got it. Hey, amazing. So these incidents certainly could include subcontractors that you're reviewing. It's not just your own employees, but your point is, hey, you're looking out for safety on the entire job, not just Hoffman workers.
Yeah. So Hoffman, we only self-perform about 10% of our work, and that's just usually in the concrete trade. We do a little bit of pipe work as well. So most of these incidents involve subcontractors. And so we want to move them forward as well, because our subcontractors are our success. If they're not successful, we're not successful. And so in order to get to the finish line, we all got to get there together, and we want everybody to be successful, and we want everybody to be incident and injury free. And so, although we conduct this at the job site with all personnel, the reason we can a subcontractor at the executive level. And the main reason is because we're really trying to focus in on ourselves and what we can do with our program to prevent recurrence.
Tony, would you say, since that program started in 2009, that you have looked, obviously you've looked at your statistics and your data on your injuries. Has it had a significant impact on where you're at right now compared to 2009?
Well, I'd say statistically it hasn't. Our recordable and lost time rates. I'd say, though, what it's done for us is it's really marched us in areas where most people, when these happen, one of the reasons that, they want to blame other people or not do anything about it is because, well, it's a freak accident, right? This wouldn't happen again in 1,000 years. And so, we've really made a lot of great strides in bolstering our safety program across the board in all kinds of areas that there's just too much to really share here. We have all kinds of stories in our presentation that we do in person at different locations. But there's just a number of things we've done, either process-wise or procedurally, to prevent recurrence. And I think one real important aspect of this program where we've gotten just tons of value is all these stories, whether it's a weekly safety suggestion or the PowerPoint, level 3 PowerPoint that is created by the project team when they come in to talk to the committee. We put all these presentations on our intranet safety website. It's under the level 321 icon. And so it gives people the ability to get back to that story when they're in that scope of work, so they don't have to recreate it, and they can pull it up and share it with the craft workers at due time. So that's been valuable, but what's been really valuable about that, what we call the level 321 storybook, is when you're having a pre-construction meeting with your subcontractors and you're talking through how they're going to perform their work, and you're bringing up different aspects and different hazards within their work, and questioning them and inquiring to them, what are you going to be doing to prevent an incident of this sort? The real value has been many of the subcontractors will look at you and what you're asking us to do is so unlikely to happen that we just can't understand why you're asking us to do this stuff. And we can pull up the storybook and say, well, as unlikely as you think it is, last year we had 3 of those incidents happen.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that is powerful, Tony. That is really, really powerful.
Gosh, that is excellent. And Tony, it's been great having you on our podcast here. And I'm going to see, Don, you got any last questions, thoughts, comments for Tony before we let him go there?
No, I just absolutely say fantastic on Hoffman. And I can honestly say that I've seen it in action because I was up on a job where Hoffman was performing, and these things did come in and they were shared with our whole job site. So we got to see things that were going on. So it is effective, and absolutely we salute you for doing such a good job in our industry. We appreciate it, Tony.
And
hey, no problem. And so, for all the listeners out there, again, my name's Tony Howard. My phone number is 503-221-8811. And if you think that you'd like to see or learn more about this or interested in an on-site presentation or something, we're game. And you know what? When it comes to safety, even if our competitors, our most fierce competitors, want to learn more about this, we're open to it because we understand that in order for us to get to incident and injury free, it's all going to take everyone's effort together to get there. We're not going to get there by ourselves, and you're not, you won't be there or anything. When we arrive, we're going to arrive and cross that goal line together. So again, that was my phone number. My email address is Tony, Tony, and then there's a hyphen or a dash, Howard, HOWARD, at hoffmancorp.com. If you contact him, we'll see what we can do to help you out.
Boy, Tony, I very much appreciate the contact information, and I can vouch for that level of safety, having seen Hoffman at many of our job sites at the University of Washington, whether it's building us a new dormitory or whatever, that this safety comes through in all the subcontractors and you as the general contractor. And we're coming to you from the University of Washington Department of Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences in the continuing education section today. And I'd just like Dawn maybe to end us. You got a safety quote you can end us with today, Dawn?
Well, I have one that I think is pretty appropriate for what Tony just shared with us, and that is, we must become the change we seek in the world. And that was by Gandhi. So that is exactly what Hoffman's doing.
Wow, this is great. And Tony, thank you so much. And Dawn, thank you. And to our listeners, watch out for each other just like they were their family. So take care, and we'll see you soon.
And aloha.
Hands for danger. Meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on the dozer with my mechanic's pride. Said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Though I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning, I was grinding on some steel. My other hand